Hi everyone, Adarsh here. So this is a new video tutorial series where we're gonna discuss about JDBC. So JDBC is a specification which was given by the Sun people, and there they have provided standards so that we can Java application can connect to the databases. Like there are many databases in the market, like most popular are Oracle, MySQL, Postgres, and SQL Server. And nowadays there are no SQL database also, like MongoDB, Cassandra and all, but we are not talking about that as of now. We're gonna our main focus will be how we can connect a Java application to MySQL and Oracle database, and this is a first video tutorial. So the what we need to do, we have a certain set of steps which we need to follow to connect a Java application with the MySQL database or Oracle database, because it's a JDBC specification, so standards are and steps are constant here. Let me So steps are all constant, and so what exactly when we talk about specification? So specification is what some people realize that for connecting a Java application with different databases, and every database has given by different vendors. So if they don't have any set of steps or rules, every database vendor will give their own way to connect to their database. So what they come up with, they come up with a specification, and in according to that specification, every database vendor need to follow that specification, because they have given these specification in terms of interfaces and abstract classes and set of concrete classes. So what they have given a specification, and that specification is implemented by the different database vendor like Oracle, MySQL or Postgres and all. So in the what is a benefit behind that whenever we give a specification, we all the classes and interfaces are same, methods are same, only internal implementations are different based on the service provider. So here the service providers are database vendor like Oracle, MySQL, Postgres and others, but the way to connect the Java application with the database will always same, only the classes names and parameters will be different based on the username, server IP, port number, as well as driver class and all. So what we have a multiple type of drivers earlier, but in this video tutorial, in this series, we're gonna talk about thin driver. Basically a thin driver is something which is provided by the database vendor in terms of implementation of the JDBC specification. So in that we have a set of classes like connection statement, prepare statement, callable statement and many more. So we're gonna take it one by one. So first of all, when we want to connect any Java application with any of the database, first thing what we need is a connection. So connection is something which is common across the because all the database drivers, because that is provided by the JDBC specification, as well as the driver manager. Driver manager is something which accepts certain amount of parameters and provides us a connection, and based on that connection we can create a statement, prepared statement and callable statement. So what exactly these sets are, I am gonna talk about one by one on all these things. So first thing what we need a connector in the sense a driver which help us to connect Java application with the corresponding database. So we have for Oracle thin driver, we have MySQL driver, we have other type of drivers available provided by the database vendors. So in this video tutorial we're gonna talk about MySQL, how Java application can connect to the MySQL database. So this is a Maven based application. So we have a pom.xml where we have specified the group ID, artifact ID, version, packaging as a jar file because it's a standalone application, name of the application, URL, organization tag, license tag, developer tag, repositories, properties where we have project name, source code encoding, and JDK version. Then we have a MySQL connector. So basically MySQL connector is something which help us to connect Java application to the MySQL database. And then we have a JUnit dependencies, and then we have SLF4j and logback dependency, and this is a standard Maven compiler plugin. So what we need to connect any application to the database, we need a certain amount of parameters, like we need a driver class name, we need a URL, we need a host name, port name, database name to which we need to connect, username and passwords. That's it. So if we have these basic information, with the help of driver manager, what we can do, we can just create a connection object, and on the based on connection, we can just connect with database from Java application. So in that and suppose if we once we get the connection, after that we need to execute some sort of queries on the database, like CRUD operation related queries. So if we have certain select statement, or a select statement, delete statement, update statement, so we have a carrier which is known as statements. So statements are the container which hold the SQL statements, and with the help of connection we can get the statement instance and we can execute on the database. So there are statement, prepared statement, and callable statement. So I'll go through one by one on that. So here what we have, logback.xml and application.xml. So in the application.xml I'm having a properties, so where we have a key and value. So basically we can use property file instead of that. So as we know that in java.util.properties we can just read the properties from XML as well as the property file. So this is the XML format for those properties, where we have stored the key value pair for data source and all the SQL queries like select query, select all query, select employee query, update employee query, insert employee query, and delete query. So first thing what we have done here, we have a SQL script here, which what it does, basically it create a, if database does not exist, it will create the database, and then it will create an employee table and insert the employee data into the employee table. So what we gonna do, we gonna just so I'm assuming that I don't have JDBC. So I have created JDBC, and then what I am doing, I am just creating a so I have created a database table here, and then after that I need to insert few records. So I have inserted few records in the employee table. So let's check, 2 records are inserted into the employee table. So this is the first step, and then what we need, we have defined everything in the properties. So first thing, we need a component which will read out all these properties from this file. So we have a property reader. So in the property reader, what we have defined java.util.properties, and then we are saying that get the file. So we have a file in this location, so I'm just creating a file instance and I'm returning the file. If file cannot read, it will throw the exception. If file is read, we can read the file, it will return the file instance. Then after that I'm getting the input stream by passing file object. So I'll get the file input stream, and then at the end what I am doing, property.load from XML input stream. I am just passing. So what it does, basically whatever the properties are defined into that XML will be loaded into this properties object, and then after that I am having a method which says get property. So I'll just pass the key and I'll get it will check whether the property contains in those properties. If it contain, it will return that into the string form. Then after that, once we read all the properties from this property file, what we need to do, we need to create a connection. So we have a connection factory here. So in the connection factory, what I have done, I have just reading the database driver class name, URL, host name, port number, database name, some extra parameters and username and password, and I am storing it. So in the static block, I am just loading the driver class, and after that I am just constructing the database URL. And we have a get connection method where what we have done, in the get connection method I am just passing database URL, username and password, which says driver manager dot get connection, and we are passing all these parameters. So we will get the connection object. So we'll check whether the connection is not equal to null or is closed, then we are throwing runtime exception. If condition is not true, then we are returning the connection object. And we have another method which says close connection, so where we are just calling a close connection method. So we reach to the point where we have read the properties and we have created a connection. So now Java application is ready to communicate with the database, but we need a component which gonna do the CRUD operation. So for that, repositories are the best component. So what table we have here? We have a employee table. So corresponding to that, we have a employee bean class which holds the employee number, employee name and employee email. So data will be kept on the employee bean, and repository will take the employee bean and translate into the set in those values into JDBC queries and send to database to execute on that. So for that we need a repository component. So we have a repository where we have a method get all the employees, where it return the list of employee. Get employee based on the employee ID, it will return only single employee. Delete the employee based on the ID, and it will return true false operation status. Update the employee, it accepts the employee and return the updated employee. Save employee, it accept the employee instance and return the boolean value based on the operation status. So what we have employee repository MPL, where we have implemented employee repository and we have all the implementation for that. So first thing what we have done, property reader dot get property, select all the employees. So we have a query here, select all the employees. So this query will be kept here, read from the property file and stored here. Then we are saying connection factory dot get connection, we will get the connection instance. Based on the connection, we will create the statement where we are saying that result set will be forward only and result set concurrent read only. So multiple concurrency can be happen on the result set. And then we got the statement. So we are saying statement dot execute query, because it's a select query, that's why we are saying execute query, and we are passing the query and we'll get the result set out of this. So once we get the result set, we'll check whether the result set is null or not. So if it is not null, if it is null, we'll return the null value. If it is not null, we need to iterate on the result set one by one, and we need to get the values and set into the employee instance, and because this method gonna return the all the employees of the database. So we need to add into the list, which we have, for that purpose we have defined the array list here. We'll set one by one all the employees into the list and return the employee list. So that's what we have done. So what we are saying, result set dot next, it will keep on executing until there is a next record, it will return true. And we are saying result set dot get integer, where we will get in the first position we will get ID, second position we will get the name, and third position we will get the email. That's why these are the strings and this is a integer value, and we are just passing into the constructor of the employee, and then again that we are passing into the add method of the employee list, and at the end out of the loop we will returning the employee list. Then we have a get employee method where we have accepting the employee ID, where we read the we read the select query from the property file, XML file, and then we are just creating a connection. We are just creating a connection here, and then after creating connection we are saying create statement. We create the statement and then execute the query and passing the statement whatever the SQL query we have passed, read from the XML file, and we got the result set. So in this case we have only one result set. We have only one just not. So what we have done here, we read the query and we are replacing the employee number, because we need to set the employee number where employee number equal to the past parameter. So we have replaced by using replace all method here, and then we are creating a connection, and from this connection we are creating a statement, and we are saying statement dot execute, and we are passing the query and we will get the result set. We are checking whether result set is not equal to null and it has next value. So what we are doing, we are reading all the values, column values 1 2 3, which is ID, name and email, and we are setting into the employee constructor, and we are returning the employee constructor. Then we have a method delete employee. So in the delete employee, what we are doing, we are passing a employee ID where we have read the delete employee query from the database from the XML file, and then we are replacing the employee number basically, because it has a delete employee number, and then setting that value instead of this value, this whatever the value of this, it will be set into the equal method because of replace all method, and then we will create a connection. From that connection we are creating a statement, and from that statement we are saying execute update. So if you notice here, we have executed query for select statement. For any manipulated statement like it's deletion or data DML statement, we have to use execute update instead of execute query, so which gonna return a integer value to us. So we are deleting the employee here, and if employee is deleted we'll get the 1, otherwise we'll get the 0. And we have another method which is update employee, where we are passing an employee object. We read the SQL query for update from the XML file, and then we are replacing employee name, employee email and employee number with that, and then we are saying we are creating a connection. From that connection what we are doing, we are just saying statement we are just creating a statement, and from that statement we are saying execute update, and once employee is updated we'll return the employee object. So I guess we can improve this logic little bit. Let me do that. So what I have done, based on the result, if result is greater than 0, then we are returning the employee, otherwise we are returning the null. And we have a save employee where we are passing a employee object, and we are just getting the insert script from the XML file, and then we are replacing employee number, name and email. We are setting that, creating a connection, and then we are creating a statement. From that statement we are saying execute update, and we are returning true and false. So one thing which I have noticed, okay, so that's how we have done the implementation here. So now to test that, I am having a test class statement test, where what I have done, I have just created a repository instance, and I am having one by one all the test cases. So if let's say get all method, I'll just give you a small demo. So if I just say right click repository get all employee, so what it does, it will go to database. It will first create a statement, create a connection, then create a statement, get the SQL script, keep on that, execute that, get the result set. So here's you can see that what we have done here, this, I'll say F8. So here you can see that we'll get the SQL query, then we'll create a connection, and we'll just create the statement, and then we'll say execute query, and then we'll check the result set, and then we'll, after that what we are doing, we are checking whether it's not null. We'll say next, next, next. It will keep on going, and after that what we'll do, we'll just return the employee list to the caller here. So we have just printed the employees here. Select all, and we are just iterating on that list, and then we are printing that list here basically. So this is the first test. Second test, which select the employee which is having employee ID 1. Get employee. So what it does basically, it will read the query, and then it will replace that. So here you can see that employee that is replaced, then created the connection statement, executed the statement, then get the data, return the employee. So here you can see that we have employee, okay, 1, name and email. So here what we can see, that employee has printed here. Then we have a save employee method. So let me put the breakpoint, and then I'll execute. Save employee, right click. So this is a basic small JUnit test case. So it executed it. It will get the employee object which we have passed from the test case here. Employee object which we have passed as argument to this method. Then we'll say get the insert statement. So we got the insert statement. We are setting the values. You can see already the values has been set. 3 Sonu and Sonu Singh. Now those values are set here. 3 Sonu Singh. Then we'll go create a connection connection object, and then we'll create a statement, and then execute update, and then we'll got the result as a 1, which is successfully executed. So once we say save, a result is 1 here. So if I just execute this in the console, we can see employee inserted successfully. So if we should get 3 employees here, Sonu, which recently we have inserted. Then we have a update employee method here, where what we are doing here in the update employee method. So it has Sonu, we are just changing the name here. So let's execute this. So what we have done here, we pass the employee object Sonu Singh, employee number 3. So it will get the name, email, number, and then create a connection, create a statement, then execute the update and return the result, which should be 1. It is successful. So we are returning the employee instance, and that employee instance will receive here as a updated one here, that employee, and we are printing that employee here. So in the console we can see that employee updated. This is a message. And then we have a last functionality, which is delete functionality, where we are saying delete the employee with the record 3. So we'll first thing we'll get the query from a property file, employee ID we have passed 3, will replacing the employee ID, so it will set where delete from jdbc.employee where employee number equal to 3, and then creating a connection, then creating a statement, then executing the statement by using a execute update method, passing a query and get the result, and result should be greater than 0 if it is successful, so we are returning true. So once we return the true, we'll just display that we have successfully completed the operation here, employee deleted. So if I just execute, we should get only 2. So that's how. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna save this piece of code to my GitHub repository, which is github.com /java_jdbc. So what I am planning, I'll just keep all these things into the folder, servlet folder, then jdbc folder. Inside jdbc it should be mysql. I'll push this code and you can just pull it up and you can play around with that. So there are many more to come in the same. Till then, take care, and please share your thoughts, comments, and do subscribe my channel. Till then, take care, bye. I'll come up with something new, and not new, but it's just free tutorial videos for the beginners for the JDBC. So hope this will help you to understand the concept. Bye, take care.